How's it going, you guys? It snowed a little bit out here recently, if you can't tell. This isn't typical here. But today I want to talk about dunks. Are they really a good skate shoe and worth skating, or are they all just hype? So we're going to break this video down into 3 sections. First is going to be just how the shoes actually perform in skateboarding. The next is going to be the skateboarding. And the third is going to be, just basically the process of buying dunks and whether or not it's even worth it. Okay, so the first thing is the fit. I would say they fit true to size. I have a 10.5 here. Almost every single Nike fits me perfectly in 10.5. And I would say the fit tends to actually be pretty narrow. Even though they have kind of a wide footprint on top, like most Nikes, the fit is definitely narrow. And even my narrow foot felt a little bit cramped in them at first. Okay, next, comfort. Now you would think that a big cushiony shoe with all this padding, it's got a really thick tongue, it's got a pretty thick collar, would be very comfortable. Personally, I never found these shoes to actually be very comfortable. I found them to be kind of hard and stiff. This point of the shoe would often kind of dig into the top of my feet when it would bend. I found that these shoes actually had to warm up. Not only did my 40-year-old body have to warm up, I found these shoes never felt comfortable until they themselves warmed up and became more pliable. Which leads me into break-in time. So when I first started skating these, I would say they pretty much felt like skateboarding in cardboard boxes. I couldn't feel really anything. And I went from really broken in GT Blazers, so a Vulc, into these cup soles. And these are definitely a traditional bulky cup sole. I think they're from the early 2000s, and that's exactly what they feel like, is a bulky cup sole from the early 2000s. I would say for me personally, to learn how to skate in them and break them in took a solid 2 weeks. I think if you skated dunks all the time and you went from an old dunk to a new dunk, it wouldn't be such a big deal. But the combination of learning how to do my tricks in these and the long break-in time was actually pretty brutal. Okay, grip and board feel. Well, the grip wasn't very good unless I had a brand new board. And if I skated at a dusty spot, these shoes started to feel really slippery on my board. And board feel, well, these soles are quite hard and the insoles are not very padded. So again, that brings me back to the skating in a cardboard box feeling. Not only could I not feel my board, I also weirdly didn't feel that cushion from impact. It's a very stiff sole. And board feel is not just specific to the sole, it's also around the edge of the board. So because these shoes are so padded, I really couldn't feel what I was doing with my board in the first while. I had to, again, learn how to skate the shoe instead of intuitively knowing how to do my tricks. Which brings me to the flick. And one of the things that the major fans of dunks kept saying to me is, oh, they have the best flick, they have the best flick. And for some reason, me personally, I never found that. In the beginning, it was too bulky and I couldn't feel my board when flicking. And now at this point that the rubber is worn away and it's just the suede on the outsole that's usually flicking, again, I have a wimpy flick in these still. Now, that doesn't mean that everybody does. I just don't have a good flick in these shoes. Except, oddly, my switch flicks, not too bad. But regular flicks, not very good. Now what that's a benefit for is tricks that I actually don't like too much grip. So frontside flips, backside flips. I actually enjoy these shoes from the start to the finish because they don't grab the board very much. Heel flips are especially weird. When I first started skating these, I couldn't figure out how to heel flip, and every one of my heel flips stayed low to the ground and rocket flipped. It has such a bulky side of the shoe that you're actually flicking with this part of the shoe. And I could see it because I'd have a whole bunch of pink on the top of my board after doing a heel flip. So because it's so bulky, what happens is the rubber from the shoe doesn't grab. If I actually look at this shoe, I can see very little wear and abrasion on the rubber because as soon as you do a heel flip, it's all this part of the shoe. Whereas personally, I really like a vulcanized shoe when doing heel flips because the rubber grabs the board, the grip tape, and actually lifts your heel flips up. So again, for both flicks, kick flips and heel flips, I actually didn't like these shoes very much at all. I had to learn how to skate them, and the only way I could find it tolerable is if I exclusively skated dunks. Because again, you have to learn how to skate a dunk before you can really enjoy skating in them. So far this is seeming pretty negative, but I do have a big positive about these shoes, and that is that they are really durable. I have over a month and a half of skating in these shoes, and as you can see, the sole is still in great shape. The fact that it's actually getting pretty worn out has given me a bit more board feel. This side, again, is proving to be incredibly durable. So that's one place that these are shining. This is my regular foot. My switch foot looks halfway brand new still. So durability on these shoes is excellent. That much I can say. And that's about all I have to say in terms of the actual performance and durability of these shoes. So I think we should get to some skating. So here's a downtown session of me looking way too bro in the Tiago pants and Dunks. It's super wet right now, but it's somehow not that slippery on the wheels.
Too baggy?
Yeah, not good no comply pants. The guy behind me shorts are good for no complies though. Those are super good no comply shorts that guy's got on. So this is guaranteed pee. Guaranteed this is all pee, because like it's downtown, and if even like 6 people pee in that corner right there, it all comes down here and it doesn't dry up. So like, yuck. Could have been a lot worse.
That was good.
Yeah. I messed it up. I tried to get all styling with my nollie out and I messed it up.
Woo.
Oh.
All right?
Yeah, I mean, that's like the worst case scenario and I'm fine. Okay, you guys, now it's time to get into buying dunks. So that first pair of dunks, the reverse Papa Bear dunk that I skated, was given to me by somebody. So I got them for free. and I sat on them for a year. So by the time that I actually got to skating them, they were worth $500 versus the 150 Canadian dollars that they usually are. And right here, I have a pair of the Why So Sad Dunks. So how did I get my hands on these? Well, I just so happened to walk into Menu Skate Shop 2 minutes after they posted these for sale. So in Vancouver, the only way you can get your hands on a legit pair of Dunks for regular retail price is you have to follow Menu Skate Shop on Instagram, and then you have to have notifications on to see when they post, and then you have to line up outside Menu. But because I just randomly walked in 2 minutes after posting, I was able to jump in the line and get a pair of these Dunks. Even though they're not my favorite shoe, given the opportunity to just immediately buy one, I did do it. I will say though, I didn't do it without some reservations. Buying Dunks to me is just kind of a weird thing because once you buy them, you kind of buy into the hype. I did, however, buy them for the purpose of skating them, but the weirdest thing was watching this lineup form outside Menu right after they posted. So I walked in and there was about 2 or 3 people in the lineup to buy the shoes, and when I left, there was about 20 or 30 people, all of them wearing some sort of Jordans or Dunks, and not one of them looking like an actual skateboarder. There was even somebody's mom there buying him Dunks, and she was like, yep, he's a collector and he just told me I have to come down there and buy them. And so it is a weird thing, this phenomena of Dunks being so popular. You know, the weird thing that it reminded me of is I remember reading a National Geographic when I was a kid, and they were showing these drug lineups in New York City. So basically, like, I guess when a drug dealer would get their supply, they'd get a location to do the deals, and a whole bunch of people would line up. And this was, you know, before the times of mass surveillance, so they could kind of get away with having a lineup of people down the street to buy drugs. But that's totally what the lineup at Menu reminded me of, except it's not drugs that they're addicted to, it's materialism. I personally found it pretty weird, and I do wonder what it says about our society that we are so addicted to consumerism that we're willing to line up down the street and drop everything we are doing just to buy a pair of Dunks. It does seem a little odd to me. But putting all that aside, let's look at it just from a purely economic point of view. Does the increase in value of Dunks make it worthwhile to buy them and hoard them? It really comes down to what your time and your storage is worth to you. I would say if I average out what my time is worth between construction and making videos, it's roughly $75 an hour. There's no way that it's going to take you less than about 4 hours of your productive day to drop everything you're doing, run to Menu, stand in line, and maybe get a pair of these. But let's say you did, and let's say it took reasonably about 4 hours of your time. So at $75 an hour, that would be $300 of my time plus $150 to actually buy these. So we're looking at $450 for the initial purchase. These shoes are not quite there yet to even pay themselves off had I gone through that whole process to actually buy these. So in my opinion, even if they reach $1,000, which could take years, that's storage space on your shelves that could be used for things that are actually of value to you and maybe other people. Whereas these have really not much more inherent value other than being a mediocre skate shoe that somebody could be skating. And not only that, if I actually buy into the whole game of reselling these shoes for more than they are actually worth, well, I'm buying into the hype that I am not actually a fan of. Which brings me to the last thing, which is, should skaters be able to buy Dunks ahead of other people? Because they are originally made for skateboarding. This is a skateboard shoe. So I was talking to, and I did just blab out that talking point. I think skateboarders should be able to buy Dunks. And you know, he had an interesting take on it as a shop owner. He said to me, before Dunks became insanely popular with people outside of skateboarding, they used to sit on the shelves. So among skateboarders, these were not a particularly popular shoe until they gained all the hype outside of skateboarding. Let that sink in for a minute, because think about what I've said, in that I personally don't think this is actually a really very good skateboard shoe. I think there's way better options, and that's what he said. We have a wall full of shoes that are really good skateboard shoes. And again, these sat on the shelves before they were more popular. So personally, after thinking about that for a while, I have to say I kind of agree with him. So anyways, that's my take on Dunks. I would have to say, you know, are they all hype or are they a good skate shoe? I'd say they are a mediocre skate shoe with maximum hype. Would I skate them again? Maybe. I mean, I tried this one on and it didn't fit quite the same as the last ones, and it was feeling so narrow, it was literally crushing my foot. So now I have the question of, well, am I actually gonna skate these? Or am I gonna buy into the hype and sell them? I don't know yet. You know, I'm not even done skating those other Dunks. They still have probably like 3 weeks of life left in them if I decided to actually skate them. So anyways, that is my take on the Dunks. I can't believe this dog here has been out in this snow for this long. She is like a Mexican rescue pup who doesn't even like to go out in the rain, but she's been out in the snow for like 10 minutes straight, which is a record for her. Anyways, you guys, yeah, this video is totally done. I hope this video was useful to you, illuminating. Maybe you disagree, maybe you think these are the best skate shoes since sliced bread. That's fine, we're all entitled to our opinions about what we think of things. But yeah, personally, they just aren't actually a very good skate shoe for me. I love Nike skate shoes. So this isn't like a bias about me not liking Nikes. This is just like, I just don't like skating in this shoe. Anyways, that's all. Thanks for watching. Till the next one. How's it going, dude? It's a little deep for you out here, isn't it?